Kemro Xplained, the video series on all you need to know about the Kemro X platform. Welcome to the very first episode of Kemro Xplained. My name is Filip and I want to know it, and that is why I ask a lot. In this series of videos, we're going to talk about industrial automation and going to answer your questions that you have on industrial automation. So drop your questions in the section below and we will pick them up in one of the next episodes. And hello Dietmar, thank you for joining me.
Hello Philip, thank you for the invitation.
A lot of people within the industry are talking about open industrial automation platforms, and so do we. Our platform is called Kemro X. What type of platform is that?
Yeah, Philip, Kemro X is the platform of KEBA for industrial automation, and you can imagine it's a system of different apps, of hardware, of software, and also of third-party components, which is very important for our customer.
The first question that most of our customers or potential customers ask is, what does open mean? What does an open platform mean?
Yeah, Kemro X is open in hard and in software, and the important thing is we use standard interfaces.
The software architecture is designed to be hardware independent, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, and that's also the reason why we use Linux. But to be honest, our goal is to offer our customer a solution that the customer can change as fast as possible. And if you look in detail, sometimes hardware dependency is necessary because standard IPC don't have, for example, fast retain data. And so if you switch to a standard hardware, you need, for example, additional hardware. That means it depends on the application, and the best is that the expert talk to our experts of the customer, and then we'll find the right solution. We
talked about openness before, and that's one word that we use to describe the Kemro X automation platform. The other two words that we use is modular and easy to use. Now, why have we selected these three words, knowing that other companies introduce their automation platforms with these three words? Why did we get into this bullshit bingo?
No, I tried it this way, like we did it at the SPS Fair last year, 2024 in Nuremberg. We compared our Kemro X solution with a burger. And you can imagine you have different ingredients of a burger, and you compare it with the components of our Kemro X system. That means you can combine it like you want, and you also can bring your old ingredients. So you get the burger like you want, or also you can choose a burger from KEBA, so-called homemade burger.
You're starting to get hungry. Let's go back to the Kemro X software architecture. You mentioned in a previous episode the standard interfaces that we have within Kemro X. Can you give a bit of background to these standard interfaces?
Of course. Let's start with the Kemro X runtime system. The runtime system is based on Linux, on a Debian-based Linux. And it's open and modular, and we also have a very modular software concept, also with microservices, services, and so on. And the other thing is the interfaces to the hardware, to the IOs, to the drives, and so on. In this case, we use EtherCAT. EtherCAT is widely used in the serials machine building, and for the slave connection, we also have EtherCAT, Profinet, and Ethernet IP to communicate, for example, to third-party controllers.
And how about open communication standards like OPC UA?
Yeah, OPC UA we also support. We support the client and the server. And our goal is to easily implement the so-called component standards. That means the customer can easily implement it. We also have experience with our KEBA system with, for example, Euromap 77. And additional to the OPC UA standard, we also support standards from the web, so-called REST API or WebSockets, based on the Open API standard.
How large is the department of developers at KEBA?
Yeah, good question. We always say we use open source. That means we have more than 1 million developers.
Which operating systems are required?
On the controller side, we use Linux, Debian-based Linux, and on our HMI devices, you can choose between Linux and Windows.
Why these two? Is there no openness?
I can explain it in this way. Linux has many advantages, and it's used on IoT devices, on servers, in the cloud, and so on. And it's very good for controller because of the real-time capabilities. And Windows is, for example, used if you have already existing applications which runs on Windows. And in this case, for the HMI devices, you use Windows.
Which programming languages are used within Kemro X, both for real-time context and non-real-time applications?
Let's start with the real-time context. In real-time context, for example, C++ can be used, and we support the full language. You can full program in C++. You can also use the standard C libraries for programming in the real-time context. I think in future also Rust will be possible. It's actually possible, but Rust will be in future, I think, more interesting for the user. Yeah, and for the serious machine builders, sometimes codes is very important because they know it and they very often rely on the structured text of this code.
And how about programming languages for the non-real-time context?
Yeah, for the non-real-time context, you can use, for example, Node-RED, which is a web-based low-code programming languages. There are many nodes available, I think around about 5,000, for example, to connect to a cloud or to connect to a database. And you also can program a little bit with JavaScript. That means that's the low-code. And directly on Linux, you can use Python or Lua as scripting language.
The integration of third-party software into Kemro X is easy to do. Now, what needs to be considered for it to remain easy to do?
Yeah, the customer can integrate their software components or third-party software components to our system. But you have to consider some things if you combine it, for example, with the real-time context.
And can you give us some examples what exactly needs to be considered?
Yeah, some basic Linux knowledge is necessary. Then we have APIs for communication to the real-time context and not to the real-time context. Then you can design your application like a container or like a daemon repository, something like this.
KEBA has already gained a lot of experience in doing so, and there are corresponding guidelines that are available. Is that right?
Yeah, of course we have guidelines, but the best choice is to do a workshop with our experts, with your requirements, with your application. We do a common design with you, and we always see us as a partner, more a partner than a supplier.
I would say all questions answered for today. Thank you very much for sharing so much knowledge with us.
Yeah, thank you, Filip, for having me here and for your very good questions. I think we can talk hours and hours about Kemro X.
We can, and we also will, because the topics that we're going to discuss in the next episodes you will find below the video. And if you have questions or open issues, questions you would like to ask us, just write them in the comment section and we will try and pick these up as well for the next time. And in the meantime, we wish you all the best.